me and thousands of people across the world. He is my father. I always like to start with my absolute gratitude to him. More than a father, he was my friend, my mentor, my guide, somebody whom I could talk to at any time about anything under the sun. He came up from a very, very poor background. Opportunities are there. Are you ready? Are you ready? I was ready. We applied. I don't know anybody. There was no godfather. The business which we were at present at that point in doing was not doing that well, because dealing with the government and all this, I was not really happy doing that business, and neither was it making enough money for us, because a lot of money was actually being shelled out for them. So it was not a good thing to, not a good place to be. I just saw this opportunity. I was ready. We applied, but I didn't just stop from applying. By applying, I kept calling them. Those were the days when we had to do the landline phone, right? There was no Google to find out what is their number. We had those big telephone directories, right? Yes, I don't know. Sometimes you had multiple telephone directories. So somehow I got hold of Bangalore telephone directory, looked up Archie's, and started calling them up. Somebody in the desk will take the phone. And I told them, I am from Mysore, I have applied for a distribution ship, can I talk to the concerned person? And it just happened. I kept calling. That's it. I just kept calling. Maybe 5, 6, 7 calls later, one fine day they said, can you come down to Bangalore and have a talk with us? So I went, and then Archie's is a big company. They told me a lot of things, a lot of it went over my head, and believe me, I did not know anything about that business. I knew nothing. But I only knew that this is an opportunity and I'd like to be a part of that opportunity. I had no past experience. The only experience I had was dealing with the government. Interested in their life. Show them that you care and be genuine about it. Life will change. So the opportunities are there. Are you ready? Then the next thing that you learn is that what relationships are real. These are real people whom we are dealing with. These are not somebody whom I'm meeting. Okay, I may have a career or I may have a business, and I meet somebody, and is it possible for us to have something to do with each other? That's not the story. The story is how much do I care for the other person. I did not know how to use a laptop. I did not know how to send an email. I did not know how to use an Excel sheet. I had never done any of those things. So what would I do to learn? Very simple for me. I'd get up at 2:30 and send out all the emails I would do with two fingers. My day will start at 2:30. I'll get up, have a cup of coffee, probably just wash my face. From 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, sending out emails, doing whatever the data work, because that's what I had to do. So, but the key for me at that time, and very important, this really makes a difference to your life. Add more value than you receive in whatever you do. This will never fail you. This will never fail. Really, today has been an awesome experience. ಇದುವರೆಗೆ ನಾನು ಆದಷ್ಟು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಅಷ್ಟು ಫ್ಲೂಯೆಂಟಾಗಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಬರೋಲ್ಲ, ಕನ್ನಡ ಗೊತ್ತು, ಅಷ್ಟು ಫ್ಲೂಯೆಂಟಾಗಿ ಬರೋಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ ನಾನು ಮಾತು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ರಾಯಪ್ಪ ಅವ್ರ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ವಾಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ಯಾಂಟಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ವಾಟ್ I heard, it was really inspiring for all of us, and so was Rashmi madam's, and of course Dr. Anjanappa. I don't even have to say, didn't it ellargu bala inspire aitalla iduvarige? Very good, fantastic. So ಇದೆಲ್ಲದರಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ one thought kept coming to my mind, especially when I heard Mr. Rayappa's story, Dr. Anjanappa's story, madam's story. This is a saying which I had heard long back, and it sticks to my mind. And when I heard their stories, this came to my mind immediately. It is not what you have that matters. It is what you do with what you have that matters. Right? It is not what you have that matters. It's what you do with what you have. We heard Rayappa's story, how inspiring it was. What he said is, so what if I cannot walk? I have my hands. It is what you do with what you have. Madam showed us that, she's homeopath by profession, stayed in different parts of the world, but what she did with her passion, to convert it to an institution that empowers so much women. It is what you do with what you have that matters. And Dr. Anjanappa sir, nimdo story is absolutely inspiring. Coming from a village, what you do with what you have. You had that passion, you had that willpower to succeed. And that's what. So really, after all these inspiring stories, I'm not sure what I can add, but I will definitely like to share some of my thoughts. But first, I'd like to put our hands together, and I am really proud of you, Kishore. I cannot express how proud I am today to stand on this. I sometimes feel like, I don't know whether like a fatherly figure, brotherly figure to Kishore, but I've seen this boy grow from what he was in the last few years. And Honestly, you surprise me every time. You surprise me in a very nice way. In fact, when I was new, I will be very frank. I told Renu, my wife, I said, I don't know whether this guy will last. And honestly, but Kishore, you proved me wrong, and I'm very happy that you proved me wrong, because it's really fantastic. The kind of platform you are creating today, it is very inspiring. ಈ ಥರ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. The one thing, I remember what George Bernard Shaw, if you empty your purse in your head, nobody can take it from you. And Kishore is making that possible. He's making us all more knowledgeable, more experienced, and these stories that we hear is what makes our life. Not all the education. I have a lot of respect for education, but it's not the books we read, it's not the degrees that we take, but it is forums like this where we take away stories. And ee kathegalu nam life anna shape madutte. It is these stories only shape our life. So Kishore, thank you very much for bringing this to Mysore, and making it possible for us all to be able to experience this kind of thing. It is making a difference to our lives, and I'm happy to see so many people over here, and I'm sure this room will become full. What I'm 100% sure is that as you go forward, this will be too small for you. It will be bigger and bigger. So thank you, Kishore, for bringing this wonderful thing. To start the story of my life, there is one person who inspired my life. All of us have an inspiration, am I right? Yeah. And all of us agree that Kishore is a crazy guy. So the way he introduced himself, that he's a crazy guy, I definitely agree with that. I'm another crazy guy. But there was another person in my life who inspired me. I don't know whether I can call him crazy, but somebody who definitely inspired me and thousands of people across the world. He's my father. I always like to start with my absolute gratitude to him. More than a father, he was my friend, my mentor, my guide, somebody whom I could talk to at any time about anything under the sun. I don't think not many people can be blessed with that, to be able to sit with a parent and talk anything what they want. And he came up from a very, very, when I heard the doctor's story, I was reminded of him, from a very, very poor background. Literally at one point he had to, cycle, I don't know, Bangalore to Whitefield, have you heard? He used to cycle every day to earn what he used to say very proudly, 10 annas in a month in those days. And for that, so from there he built our family business. And the stories that he shared with us during and he was an SLC, he just had, my grandfather was not able to afford the education for him, so just with an SLC, the stories of his life is what, that's why for me, I'm always somebody who believes in stories. The story of his life was the education for us. And having built a very big business, the one thing, the wealth that he created, and that's for me the wealth that which I inherited from him, was the fact that he was able to impact lives, to touch lives, to make a difference to people's lives. And that is the real wealth you can do. See, you can do charity, you can help people, you can, that's all important. See, if somebody is not having money to pay for their children's education, he would be the first person, he'll just give it. His right hand won't know what his left hand has given. In fact, we later on came to know that he had, given away so much of money, it was this, but what he had done was he has impacted lives. That was one of the biggest lessons that I had learned. More than the legacy of wealth, many people talk about business owners leaving behind a legacy of wealth. He left behind for us, for his children, a legacy of principles. And that was the legacy which I'd like to share with all of you today. The legacy of how I managed to apply those legacy of principles in my life is what I'd like to share. The first thing I'd like to share is, for all of us here, how many of us are here now looking to build a career? How many youngsters are here? Can you all stand, please, who are looking to building a career? Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Give them a big hand, because these people are very, very important people for us. These are the people who are out there building a career. So today what I have to share will be some thoughts about what I learned from my father's principles about building a career. Opportunities are there for everybody. It is always there. What I am sharing is also the story of my own life. Opportunities are always there. Are you ready to take them? ಸಿ ಮೆನಿ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ನಾವೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ, ನನಗೆ ಈ ಟೈಮ್ ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನನಗೆ ಆ ಟೈಮ್ ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇವಾಗ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಇದೆ, ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಇರೋ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್, ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ, ಬಟ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ದೇರ್. ಆರ್ ಯು ರೆಡಿ? ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ರೆಡಿ, ದ ಡೋರ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಓಪನ್. When Kishore introduced, they talked about, my brother is here, together we ran a business in which we were having to deal with the government a lot. A lot of government contracts is the business that we inherited from our father. But at that time, it was an opportunity for me to learn. That is why, when I was introduced, it was told that I started joining him when I was in high school. Because for him to sit and watch him talking to his clients, to talk to them, the lessons of life, what we talk about today, the management lessons of HR and about how do you talk to people, those were the lessons. So was I ready? Yes, I was ready. I was ready to grab those opportunities. So are you ready? You have to keep your antenna open at always. You never know where it will come from, when it will come, but those opportunities are there. It's only whether we are ready to receive those opportunities. At one point, that our business ನನಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಆ್ಯಸ್ when my father was when I used to travel with him, do business, it was a very honorable business, doing business with the government. I have highest respect for the government, but we all know that days have changed. Money plays a big role in that, and so that was something that was not able to play. I was not able to stomach it, so exited that business. And then just one Sunday afternoon, because you don't know what to do next. And there was this small advertisement in, I think, the Hindu paper, Deccan Herald paper we used to get over there, which said that Archie's is looking for distributors to handle one of their product lines. I told Renu, I said, why don't we just try? What do we lose in trying? Opportunities are there. Are you ready? Are you ready? I was ready. We applied. I don't know anybody. There was no godfather. The business which we were at present at that point in doing was not doing that well. Because dealing with the government and all this, I was not really happy doing that business, and neither was it making enough money for us, because a lot of money was actually being shelled out for them. So it was not a good thing not a good place to be. I just saw this opportunity. I was ready. We applied, but I didn't just stop from applying. By applying, I kept calling them. Those were the days when we had to do the landline phone, right? There was no Google to find out what is their number. We had those big telephone directories, right? Yes, I don't know. Sometimes you had multiple telephone directories. So somehow I got hold of Bangalore telephone directory, looked up Archie's, and started calling them up. Somebody in the desk will take the phone. And I told them, I'm from Mysore, I've applied for a distribution ship, can I talk to the concerned person? And it just happened. I kept calling. That's it. I just kept calling. Maybe 5, 6, 7 calls later, one fine day they said, can you come down to Bangalore and have a talk with us? So I went, and then, Archie's is a big company. They told me a lot of things. A lot of it went over my head. And believe me, I did not know anything about that business. I knew nothing. But I only knew that this is an opportunity, and I'd like to be a part of that opportunity. I had no past experience. The only experience I had was dealing with the government in a product that had to do with machinery, which I had no experience in gifting. But then there was this guy who had come from Delhi. We sat and talked, and then he talked about numbers, and those numbers were running to lakhs of rupees, and there was no way I could even think of affording that. But opportunities is there, and I was ready. All that mattered was that. So at the end of all this, I told him only one thing. We were able to afford a small amount of money. I said, I have 50,000 rupees with me. I can pay it. But I cannot pay it as a deposit. I can pay it as an advance to buying your products. I don't know what happened, what goodness was there in that man. He said, come on, let's get started. And that is how that story started. The lesson which I learned over here, this is a lesson that I learned from my father. When you have the opportunities are there, are you ready to take those opportunities? I was ready, and as I say, the universe will conspire to make it happen. When the opportunity is there and you are ready, the universe will conspire to make it happen. So for the youngsters who are starting a career, this is lesson number one. When the opportunities are there, universe will conspire. But are you ready for that? And then, as you all know, the world changed. Online sales started happening. People started ordering gifts on phone. People nowadays everything is ordered on phone. Sometimes I wonder which is the day is going to come when people will start eating through the app or something like that. Nowadays we are ordering food through the app. Very shortly we'll start eating food through the app only. So anyway, that kind of situation ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. So that business was not looking so attractive as it did at once upon a time. Again, the next crossroad in life, what to do next. You are a great friend, sir. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, doctor. Please, doctor, thank you, thank you. Yeah, sure, doctor. So, yeah, yeah. So that door started closing. Thank you, doctor. Thank you very much. That door started closing because people started ordering products online. It was there. Even today, Archie's is a good company. They do a lot of business. But as for me to have enough food on the table to survive did not look as attractive as it did before. So again, another crossroad. So again, I started reaching out. I told you, opportunities are always there. Are you ready? So I started sending out an email. I sent out an email to someone, and then they responded. They invited me to a meeting of something called BNI. They said, this is good for your business, please come to Bangalore. Avaga Mysore-Bangalore highway innu katta idru alla, the first time they expanded the highway. So driving down there, of course, taking the car and going was ruled out. I got a bus. They told me you have to be there by 7 o'clock in the morning. So, and they said you carry 200 rupees with you, that's the meeting fees. It was my brother who actually invited me. So I took a bus at 2 o'clock, so I could reach there by 4 o'clock. It was 4 hours because the road was in bad shape, and I reached the meeting. And then I went there, I saw something, it was fantastic, it looked great. I said, Mysore bandre channagirate. I came back and forgot all about it because I'm in Mysore, that's in Bangalore, and it did not look like it was not a business opportunity, it was just that they wanted to. A few months down the line, I got a call from them. They kept calling me in between. I said, see, I'm staying in Mysore. This is happening in Bangalore, and I don't think I have the ability to handle this and things like that. So then I got that. I said, opportunities are there. Are you ready? I got a call, and then this is when I had sent out an email. Things were not looking good. They said, are you ready to take on a responsibility? I said, yes, because at that time I was ready for anything. And we took on that opportunity, and then the story began. The rest of the story, I think Kishore had this one. So Kishore had read out from where to where my journey became. So the key lesson over here, opportunities are always there. Are you ready to take it? If you are ready, and you are ready to go that extra mile, and if nothing else matters to you except getting what you want, it will come to you. The universe will conspire to make it happen for you. The next thing, see, some of the lessons I learned in this. Now, I got into BNI, it's a networking company. I'm not saying like as in what we call that multi-level marketing network. It's not of that type. It's a business networking company. Probably you have to visit one of our meetings and then you'll understand how it happens. We have Kishore here. We have a number of members here who will probably, if you'd like to see, it's a very interesting thing that happens over there. But it was about networking, and I'm a very shy person. ಈಗ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಈ ಥರ ಪೋಡಿಯಂ ಇರೋದು for people like me. I had to go to BNI meetings and 50-60 people in the room, and the first thing they have to do is stand up and say good morning, and my legs were shivering when I say good morning. And I'm, God bless those skirtings which are on the table ಅಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಟೇಬಲಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಕರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಹಾಕಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಕ್ಲಾತ್, ಈ ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಹೋಟ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದರಿಂದ ನನ್ನ ಕಾಲು ನಡ್ಗೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. And they had given me a responsible position, so during the course of the meeting I have to talk something for about 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll be saying ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಒಂದೇ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಎದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮತ್ತೆ 3 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. That used to be the kind of stage fear I had. But then, like I told you, when we are ready, things will happen. But some of the lessons I learned was, so I was not a networker. And network ಮಾಡಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಜನರ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾತಾಡೋಕೆ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಮದುವೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನನಗೆ ಭಯ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಏನು ಹೇಳೋದು ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. But then I learned that relationships are real. That's another thing. They're real. It's a relationship is not, you see, I have to get to know people, I have to meet people. See, what I mean to say over here is that relationships are not something that we just, I know so-and-so as a friend. No, you have to take your relationships as real. And that's a lesson that I learned. As part of being a part of BNI, I learned that relationships are real. Many BNI members are here, they understand you have to build those relationships. You have to care for the people. You have to get to know them. God has given us two ears, one mouth. Listen proportionately. Show interest. Become interested in their life. Show them that you care. And be genuine about it. Life will change. So the opportunities are there. Are you ready? Then the next thing that you learn is that relationships are real. These are real people whom we are dealing with. These are not somebody whom I'm meeting. Okay, I may have a career or I may have a business, and I meet somebody, and is it possible for us to have something to do with each other? That's not the story. The story is how much do I care for the other person? How much do I really care? So relationships are real. We have to take them seriously, and it will come to you naturally if you're genuine in what you are. If you're genuine in your thoughts, automatically those things will happen. The right words The universe will conspire to put the right words into your mouth if you're genuine in a relationship, in any form of relationship, whether it is with your spouse, whether it is with your business associate, whether it is with a team member, whether it is with a vendor, whether it is with your mentor. If you are serious about what you, I mean, if you really believe in what, if you're serious about that, if you're genuine, the right words will come into your mouth. Okay. The next lesson that I learned as I traveled along that journey, I was in a very kind of a, what you could say, that given me a tag called as operations, okay, in charge of I did not know. I was not from a corporate world. And honestly, at the age of 46, about 16 years back, was the first time I ever touched a laptop. I did not know how to use a laptop. I did not know how to send an email. I did not know how to use an Excel sheet. I had never done any of those things. So what would I do to learn? Very simple for me. I'd get up at 2:30 and send out all the emails I would do with with two fingers. My day will start at 2:30. I'll get up, have a cup of coffee, probably just wash my face. From 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, sending out emails, doing whatever the data work, because that's what I had to do. So, but the key for me at that time, and very important, this really makes a difference to your life. Add more value than you receive in whatever you do. This will never fail you. This will never fail you. Add more value that you can receive in anything, whether it is a relationship at home, whether it is whether you're working for somebody, whether you are in a career, you're building a business. Add more value than you receive. What you receive is a perception. If I'm getting paid X amount as salary, at that time I was being paid some amount, but for me, no, my work has to be done. I will work backward. I like that idea of working backward. If I have to send out these emails, if I have to complete all this work and then go and attend a BNI meeting at 6 o'clock in Bangalore and 7 o'clock, in Bangalore traffic, I have to leave at 6, even early morning. So if I have to leave at 6 o'clock, I have to complete so much emails, I have to complete so much paperwork, so get up at 2:30, simple. And work towards it. So add more value than you receive. And automatically, the universe will conspire to give you. What I'm talking may seem more philosophical, but this is real. This is what actually happens. Add more value than you receive. And along that journey, what happened then suddenly people started recognizing things were happening. I was part of a company called BNI, which is in Bangalore. In the world, there are something like around 1,000 something such locations. And Bangalore was nowhere on the, nowhere in the list. About 2 years after I was doing this, I was sponsored to go to the US and attend our global convention. And the founder of our company, he comes and taps me and he says, congratulations. I was a little bit taken aback. I turned around and said, what happened? They said, you're number one in the world. They said, you're number one in the world. I did not know. I only know that I must add more value than I can receive. Now, some of these, for the youngsters here, it may sound old-fashioned, but it is a fact. It actually works. When you add more, if you're in business, if you have a customer who comes in, as I told you, I was part of Archie's. I would always add more value than I receive. Give them that extra care. Spend more than 20 minutes with them, even if they're buying one card. I used to get so many people coming to the store and saying, sir, ನನ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕ್ಕನಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ವ್ಯಾಲೆಂಟೈನ್ಸ್ ಡೇ, ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಚೂಸ್ ಅ ನೈಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೈ ಸಿಸ್ಟರ್. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ more than an hour opening that English card and telling them what it means in Kannada. But I've added more value than they received. That is what will happen. The same principle carries on. So I was offered multiple roles. They said, you're number one in the world. I was offered a role of taking part of one part of the country, that is southern part of India. As I told you, I have never led a team. I have no corporate background. I have not done an MBA. I don't know what it means to manage a team of people. But again, I know that where I'm coming from, I'm sincere. And I must add more value than I can receive. So I kept doing that, and then magic happened, and then I started opening out BNI in different kind of parts of the country, from Tirunelveli to Jammu to Guwahati to Rajkot, across the country to Nagpur, doing the same thing, nothing, no magic, no rocket science, just adding more value than I receive. And they started expanding. They later on, they asked me, can you become the head of operations for the country? I said, what is this head of operations thing? It is the same thing. I had to whatever I was doing, I had to continue doing. And finally, at some point in time, they asked me, can you become the national director of the country? I said, yes, it's the same thing, because nothing has changed. Believe me, from when I started my career in BNI as somebody in the operations team to national director, it's the same. Add more value than you receive. Be 100% genuine in what you do because it really cares. And ಇದನ್ನು ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, especially for those of you who are in business, who are handling a team of people, genuinely care for them. The team will take care of you more. I think earlier to this, Madam had mentioned about how important your team is. I cannot reinforce how important they are. It is not 100% agree with what Rashmi Madam said. It is not the degree that matters. I myself am a living example of that. It's not the degree. With due respect, yes, highly educated people, you've invested a lot of time in education, that matters. But what matters is the person behind that degree, the person behind that. I'm very proud to say that the people who joined me are still part of the organization. They're still there. I've got team members who have been here. I'm very proud of some of them. You can see that boy over there sitting at the back, Anil. Is there Anil? Can you stand? He's been with me for more than 20 years. He's my right hand. He's there. He knows me. He knows me. He's my shadow. He knows exactly what I do. He knows more about me than probably I know myself. He drives me around. He knows the meetings I need to go. If I have to address an audience of about 100 people, if there is a conference, I'll only tell him, Anil, this conference has to be organized. He knows what collaterals are required. He knows what printouts are required. He knows what logistics. He knows how to go to the hotel. He knows how to negotiate the price. He knows everything. It does not matter what they know. Are you caring for your team? Are you taking care of them? It's not that how much of time, when I say take care, it's not about paying more salary. It's not about giving more perks. Are you sitting down with them and looking and understanding their life? What's happening in their life? You know, for many people in corporates, we talk about setting the right expectations, right? I always say that, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಂಪನಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗಬೇಕು, you're in charge of marketing, you're in charge of sales, you have to do this. I would do exactly the opposite. I'll keep all that aside and sit down and say, tell me about yourself, tell me about your family, tell me about your life. What do you want to be 5 years from now? What is it that, okay, let's keep all this aside. Even 20 ವರ್ಷ ಹೋಗಲಿ. That's normally a question I ask them. 20 ವರ್ಷ ಹೋಗಲಿ, where would you like to see yourself 20 years from now? Or sometimes the youngster is about 20 or 25. I'll say, fast forward 30 years and tell me at 55, what do you want to see? What do you want to look back at your life and say that you have achieved? And then I'll tell them, can I give you some small ideas to achieve it? Let's start working. Let's do this, and you will be there. And I have seen people reaching those places. I've seen these people. One of the first people who worked for me, in fact, Renu knows she was, this morning she came and met me. She's a girl called Amreen. I'm very proud of her. She could not talk. She could not talk English properly. And today, she's a senior manager of operations for BNI India. I said, wow. Whenever, you see that kind of title. It's how much of time you invest with them. It's how much of time. What quality of time do you give? The biggest asset ever for any business is not money. It is not infrastructure, it is not capital, it is people. So, do you really genuinely care for your people? This again comes from genuine care. Not everybody will make it. Okay, somebody will work for you. I've had a lot of people who worked for me. Some of them even became a competition. That's fine. So what? Let them go out. Bless them. Be happy. Be happy that they learned from you and be proud that they went out and did something bigger than you. Fine, fantastic, so what? I can tell you that will be hardly a handful of people, and wish them well. There's nothing wrong, wish them well. But the people who stay on will make you who you are today. So a lot of that's another lesson that I learned, okay? Another thing, again, how many of you feel nan kelsak nange time e sikta illa nange? People like that. I don't have enough time to complete my work. Nobody? All of us have got a lot of time. It looks like I've got most of my days full. And then for, the other thing that we come across is, I don't have enough capital for businessmen. I wish I could have time, money to expand. I wish I had more time to work. Nange innu jana bekagittu. I need more people in my team. Believe me, time, money, people, all these things matter. But the most important thing is managing energy. Energy is a very tangible thing. Business is not about how much capital you've invested. Business is also about the people that you've invested, but how much of energy are you? I'm not talking about your energy. I'm talking about their energy. Have you understood your team's energy? Have you managed their energies? Have you understood who is good at what? Have you understood whom to tap at the back? Whom to be positive with? See, one of the things that I learned was, sometimes you get frustrated, you get angry that things are not done. And the best time to do that is either end of the day or end of the week. It's never at the beginning of the day or beginning of the week. It is managing their energy. God knows what they've gone through when they've come into work on a Monday morning, what kind of weekend they've had, what kind of day they've had. What if I was to sit down at the end of the week and talk to them, hey, look, this is the kind of things that are, this is what we had discussed that we wanted to do, but today this is where we stand. So how do you think we can address this situation? And then, you take it from there, you manage their energy. It is energy management. Energy, especially for those of you here who are heading businesses or who are heading an organization or heading people, managing energy is everything. Managing, just like I said, being genuine with people is everything. Managing energy is everything. If you know how to manage those energies, it becomes automatic. Becomes automatic. And as part of BNI, we saw exponential growth because, I could identify the people whose energy could be tapped for what, to get what done. It is whom you're using for what and in the right time. You just manage those energies as a manager, as somebody who's responsible for other people. You have to invest time in thinking about whose energy is rightly channelized where. It's all about energy management. It's not about, while money, capital, infrastructure, people, all that is important. Another important factor, which I'm not sure how many colleges teach us, is are you managing the energies right? Are you managing the energy of the people right? Are you channelizing that energy in the right direction? Okay. At times, yes, we have to get little firm with people. At times, you have to pat them on the back. But it's very important that you're sensitive to their energies. And sometimes all this can happen by WhatsApp. Another thing that's happened is most of our, communications happen on WhatsApp. Am I right? How many of you contact mostly on WhatsApp? Sometimes, I believe that we have forgotten how to laugh. We have forgotten how to smile, right? All you know is to put on smiley. Oh, there. And then if you want to say you're very happy, you put on smiley with the tears coming out of their eyes also. So you're seeing you're very happy. Sometimes we have forgotten how to laugh. It is how you manage those energies that's important. So this is just some of the few messages which I just wanted to share with you. This is not messages, this is more my life's journey. And finally, I'd just like to end up with one thing which I call as excellence. Be excellent in whatever you do. Be excellent, outstanding, even if it's a simple thing. If you're drafting an email, if you're getting ready for the day, if you're opening the door and sitting in the car, if you're starting your motorbike, if you're combing your hair, this should be something better than what anybody else can do. What I call as, see, basics are important, but are you doing it's not about, they always say, no, do the basics, you will succeed. This is something which is an age-old saying, but I like to add on to that, do the basics brilliantly. You should be proud of what you do. You should be able to put on your shoes and say, wow, I put on my shoes fantastically today. I feel really nice. I feel good. You open the door, you open it excellently. Do the basics brilliantly. Do it a little bit more. It's what we call as a 2 mm change, a 2 mm difference. All it requires is a 2 mm more of effort in doing the basics brilliantly. If you're preparing an Excel sheet, if you're working for somebody, if you're preparing an Excel sheet, if you're following through on something. Many times I've been blamed, and I know that some of the people here know about it, that I follow up very diligently. You will get a message, you will get a call, you will get a message, and then you will get a call to confirm whether you have received the message. You will get a reminder. I can see some people laughing at that. I think Kishore is laughing because he must have received those kind of messages many times. But it is only about doing the basics brilliantly because you're 100% sure of what you've done is correct. It's not about satisfying other people. It's not about telling somebody that you've done an extraordinary job. It's about telling yourself that, yes, I have done my basics brilliantly. So with these short messages, I just thought this is some of my life lessons. A lot of these were learned from my dad, or I'd say all of this was learned from my dad, including doing the basics brilliantly, because there was a way in which he would do things. And that way would make you feel that it has been complete. And all this, I'd like to end with a message about gratitude. And this is something for me which is very important. Have you seen sugar in water? How many of you have seen sugar in water? You've seen? Have you? But the water tastes sweet, right? So be the sugar in the water. Make the environment sweet. Make the environment productive. Make the environment special without having to be noticed. To me, that is what gratitude is. It is. There are a lot of people who have been grateful on this journey. I've had an extraordinary journey. I'm sometimes when I look back at it, yes, it has been crazy. I've gone through crazy times, but there are many people who tolerated and made this craziness happen. And for that, the first and foremost is my family. There, I'm so happy. See, that shows how grateful I am. My family is because they're all here. My daughter Varsha is there. My wife Renu is here. My brother Rajshekhar, his wife Malika, and then of course I could say my son Madhu is here. These are all the people. They are always with me. They have tolerated my craziness. They have tolerated my what do you call that, obsession for being perfect. They have tolerated my whatever I shared so far. They've tolerated. So that gratitude to my family, because you are what you are because of your family, and I think that's a very important part of it. Um, I'm very grateful to the people with whom I have coached. Everybody whom I have taught along the journey, and I continue to teach. I've learned from them. God has given us 2 ears, one mouth, and keep listening. The people who will teach you the most are the people with whom you are. And that excellence, when you're working with people, the benchmark I keep is, if that person whom I'm working with can be better than me, is then I've achieved my goal. That's what gives me that sense of joy. That gives me that absolute sense of satisfaction. Today, when I see Kishore here putting together an event like this, it gives me an absolute thrill. I don't think I'd have been able to pull off something like this. But that is what it happens when you work with somebody and they can. So that's why I have learned so much from the people I taught. And if you keep your ears open and if you keep your mind open, there is so much. The people whom you work with, they can teach you. So I'm very grateful to all of them. I'm very grateful to my family. I'm very grateful to the people I have worked with. I am very grateful to the team that I worked with. I worked with an awesome team of people. I worked with some amazing people, and they've all taught me things. And that's what I am today. And I had a mentor many years ago. He's no more. His name is Lieutenant Colonel Krishna Iyer. He was retired from the army. There's somebody whom I could talk to. I'm very grateful to him for what. So it is with this attitude of gratitude, and thank you very much for being here, listening to me. And I hope this has been useful to you. If any of you want to reach me, I'm always available. Kishore knows how to reach to me. And I call myself a 24/7 person. My wife doesn't like it because sometimes on a Sunday I get a message or a call that I have to reply back. But I guess that's the way I am. I cannot change. So thank you all. Thank you, Kishore, for inviting me. And thank you all for listening to me.